Xi's covert security unit has been exposed. That was the last straw. The moment Beijing decided he had to go. Xi has entered the Hua Guofeng mode. But behind Beijing's sealed doors, how can we tell if he's truly out? Or just wearing the mask of power? Welcome back to Final War with Katherine Hu. In our last episode, we exposed what Beijing has tried hardest to conceal. Inside the fourth plenary session, Xi was forced to make a self-criticism, submitted his resignation, and handed over both the party and the military. In essence, he is no longer the director of the system. He has become the actor left on stage. The one now quietly running party affairs is Wang Yang. Of course, this story runs completely against the official narrative. And that's why reactions have been split. Some believe it, others don't. That's normal. Insider information always comes early. And for security reasons, we can't reveal the source. But in the coming months, we'll keep tracking visible shifts inside Beijing, comparing every sign we can observe to answer one question. Does Xi still hold real power? I believe that through this shared process, you'll reach your own conclusion. And I'd like to invite you to join our premieres so we can discuss live together. Let's begin tonight's deep dive with a revelation that stunned even Beijing's inner circle. Just as the fourth plenary session concluded last week, Youxia, a former professor at the CCP's Central Party School, now living overseas, made an exclusive revelation. Xi's two most powerful generals, He Weidong and Miao Hua, had secretly formed a private force under his command to carry out covert military operations. It was a stunning disclosure. On October 25th, Youxia revealed on the Chinese language program Fangfei Time that former director of the Political Work Department, Miao Hua, and former CMC Vice Chairman He Weidong had secretly established a military unit in Langfang City, Hebei Province, completely independent from all existing theater commands and the regular military structure. Officially, the unit was registered at the deputy division level, but its weapons, equipment, and logistical support matched the deputy army standard, creating what insiders described as a low-rank, high-capacity formation, a typical setup for a covert elite force. Langfang, the city in Hebei province where the unit was based, lies only about 35 to 37 miles from central Beijing, less than an hour's drive from Zhongnanhai. What makes this unit extraordinary is its chain of command. It was not subordinate to any theater command, service branch, or regional command. It answered only to Miao Hua and He Weidong, and refused directives from any other military institution. In a crisis, whether an attempted power grab, civil unrest, or internal clash, this force could reach Zhongnanhai within minutes. The setup effectively created a shadow layer of defense beyond Beijing's official security perimeter, an extra ring of personal protection and political leverage designed exclusively for Xi. Youxia explained that she had known of this information for some time through her contacts among military second-generation Reds. But she stayed silent until after the fourth plenary session, when debates erupted inside the system about how far He Weidong and Miao Hua's case would go. Only then did she decide to speak publicly. In her view, the meaning behind this secret force was clear. First, the purpose of the unit was unmistakable. It was a personal security force custom-built for Xi by Miao Hua and He Weidong, essentially Xi's own secret force. Second, the generals involved could never admit, nor dare to admit, that the unit had been created under Xi's direct instruction. That is why the official charges against them, known as the two major disruptions, are so closely linked to this case. Third, the very existence of this unit proves that Xi no longer controlled the real military command. If he did, he would never have needed to go to such lengths to secretly build a force of his own. Former Navy Lieutenant Commander Yao Cheng confirmed similar intelligence, claiming the group was involved in a plot bordering on covert security force rebellion. We covered that story in detail last week. Taken together, these accounts all point to the same conclusion. Xi's most trusted generals once built a covert army-level unit near Beijing, allegedly meant to move against General Zhang Youxia, and even senior party elders like Hu Jintao and Wen Jiabao. Some unverified reports go further, claiming that on June 2, 2024, former vice chairman of the Central Military Commission Shu Qiliang was reportedly killed during an internal confrontation to detain Zhang Youxia. Immediately afterward, the military began a sweeping internal cleanup. By the time of the fourth plenary session, nearly half of all generals above the corps level, loyal to Xi, had already been removed. Now, let's revisit what happened just before the fourth plenary session. After 9 of Xi's top generals were taken down, the Liberation Army Daily published an editorial filled with unusually severe political charges, each one carrying enormous weight inside the party's vocabulary. In the language of CCP politics, every word in that editorial carried the weight of a hammer. Together, they pointed not to corruption or misconduct, but to something far graver: an attempt to seize power. The editorial accused the fallen generals of losing loyalty and integrity, an extraordinarily rare charge that in party language implies betrayal, even defection. It also said they had seriously undermined the principle that the party commands the gun, a Mao-era doctrine that defines the CCP's survival. To challenge that rule is to challenge the party itself. And finally, it accused them of seriously damaging the CMC chairman responsibility system. In plain words, an attempted military power grab. These three accusations, when read together, form a single chain of logic. The case was never about graft or greed. It was about an organized attempt to seize control of the party and the army. Seen in this light, Xi's pressured step down makes far more sense. His secret force designed to move against Zhang Youxia and party elders was exposed. Almost all of the generals he had personally promoted were neutralized. And within the party, the Central Party decision-making and coordination body obtained direct evidence from the investigation into the death of former Premier Li Keqiang, evidence reportedly pointing to Xi and his wife. If that ever surfaced, it would trigger the greatest political scandal in CCP history. At the same time, Xi's rumored involvement in the yumenglong case, the alleged death for longevity ritual, was spreading across international social media. All of it converged to force Xi into a corner. Faced with the loss of military control, a collapsing political circle, and growing public outrage, he had no choice but to submit his resignation at the party's highest level meeting. But what followed was not justice, it was compromise. Under the banner of saving the party, the elders decided to preserve their own family's power and wealth. They chose to let Xi go the same way Hua Guofeng once did, a staged, gradual fade-out. Xi's powers would be stripped in phases to create the illusion of stability. Only a few hundred insiders were informed, and everything was sealed in absolute secrecy. On paper, Xi still holds all three of his titles. In reality, every one of them has already been taken away. To understand how Xi is being removed, we need to look back more than 40 years, because the party has done this before. The template they are following today is the one used to quietly remove Hua Guofeng, Mao Zedong's chosen successor. In short, Hu Jintao and the elder faction are copying Deng Xiaoping's playbook. When Mao Zedong died, in September 1976, China was still reeling from the chaos of the Cultural Revolution. Hua Guofeng inherited Mao's title but not his authority. The Gang of Four still held enormous influence, so Hua joined forces with two founding generals, Xi Jinping, Li Xiannian, and Deng Xiaoping, to arrest them and reclaim control. Once that was done, the real question became, which path should China take next? Hua wanted to continue Mao's line. Deng and the reformers wanted to rebuild the economy and restore order. Inevitably, Hua's exit became only a matter of time. In December 1978, at the CCP's historic third plenary session of the 11th Central Committee, Hua Guofeng still appeared to hold the combined power of party, government, and military. But in reality, the center of authority had already shifted into the hands of Deng Xiaoping. In the communiqué released after that session, there was only a brief line mentioning Hua Guofeng's proposal to reduce personal propaganda. To ordinary readers, it meant nothing. But to those who understood the party's inner language, it was the first faint signal that Hua's leader status had begun to fade. Over the next 2 years, Deng quietly dismantled Hua's network. In February 1980, Hua's allies were forced to resign. By August, Politburo members began questioning whether Hua should remain party chairman or head of the military commission. Then, at the National People's Congress, Deng Xiaoping took the first formal step to remove Hua from power, under the slogan of separating party and state functions. Hua stepped down as premier, replaced by Zhao Ziyang. Soon after, Deng Xiaoping abolished the position of party chairman altogether and created a new post, General Secretary of the Communist Party, to replace it, and installed Hu Yaobang as the new General Secretary. From November to December 1980, the Politburo held 9 consecutive meetings on Hua's case. Hua offered his resignation from all positions and delivered a self-criticism. The Politburo accepted it, but for months afterward, Hua still held the ceremonial title of party leader and continued meeting foreign delegations, just to maintain the illusion of continuity. By 1981, Hua made his final appearance at a state banquet. A year later, he lost his Politburo seat entirely. The process from real power transfer to total exit took 3.5 years, and for the first 2, the outside world barely noticed any change. That's the model now being applied to Xi. Once we understand how Hua Guofeng was eased out of power, it becomes much easier to see what's happening to Xi. And yes, Hu Jintao is following Deng Xiaoping's old script almost line by line. Here's how the process unfolded. In July 2024, during the third plenary session, Xi reportedly suffered a stroke. Zhang Youxia, backed by the party elders, immediately began taking control of the military. One of Xi's most trusted generals, Miao Hua, was under investigation. By March 2025, Zhang had gone further, detaining Xi's core military ally, He Weidong, and several other loyalists. From that moment, Xi's control over the military was gone. In April 2025, when Xi tried to flip the table and restart a global trade confrontation, the elders intervened and shut him down. In May 2025, during his visit to Moscow for the Victory Day parade, the elders made their move. Xi would have to step down at the next plenary session. When Xi returned to China, he was quietly sent to Luoyang City for 2 weeks of reflection. By June 2025, Xi had agreed to resign at the 4th plenary session and moved out of Zhong'anhai. The elders then created a new structure, the Central Party Decision-Making and Coordination Body, which effectively stripped the Politburo Standing Committee of real authority. In July 2025, Xi refused to schedule the plenary session for August. He was sent to Yangquan City, Shaanxi Province, to cool down. Premier Li Qiang replaced him at the BRICS summit in Brazil. At the Beidaihe conference in August, all factions reached a consensus. Xi had to go. In September, Xi's military inspection was downgraded. A lieutenant general delivered the report, and Wang Yang began appearing publicly as the new face of party affairs. Finally, in October, Beijing officially announced that 9 top generals had been removed from command. The message was clear. The military had completed the process of neutralizing Xi's influence. With domestic unrest and external pressure mounting, the 4th plenary session became the perfect moment to formalize Xi's exit. Behind closed doors, the CCP concealed the truth. Xi had surrendered both party and military authority. His position as state chairman would remain only as a symbol, a ceremonial mascot to preserve the illusion of continuity. This is black box politics with Chinese characteristics, a political process so opaque that even many within the system can't see where the real power lies. Hu Jintao, having regained influence after Xi's stroke, has insisted on returning to Deng Xiaoping's pragmatic path. In handling Xi's downfall, the elders simply replicated Deng's method. Today, Wang Yang plays the role of Hu Yaobang, quietly leading party affairs without the title. Zhang Youxia and Liu Yuan play the role of Deng Xiaoping, reshaping the political order through military control. And Xi? He's now living under the Hua Guofeng treatment, still allowed to meet foreign dignitaries as the nominal head of state, but with no real power left. Beijing's cover-up serves a single purpose: to prevent the public from realizing that choosing Xi as leader was the regime's greatest mistake. If that truth ever becomes widely understood, it would shake the entire foundation of party legitimacy, just as Zhang once refused to publicly denounce Mao for the same reason. So how can we tell whether Xi has truly stepped down, or if Beijing is just staging another illusion of control? The answer lies in 4 directions: diplomacy, the military, the economy, and politics. Diplomatic front. Foreign policy always moves first. If China and the United States reach a trade deal, that alone means Beijing has abandoned Xi's combative wolf warrior strategy. And that's exactly what happened. Within days of the 4th plenary session, trade talks quietly restarted. The delegation was led nominally by Xi's old ally He Lifeng. But the real negotiator was Li Chenggang, a protege of Wen Jiabao, symbolizing the comeback of the reformist camp. The new tone came from Wang Yang, who reportedly set the line.
The negotiations must succeed, just as China's WTO accession did in 2000. The United States is China's largest single trading partner and the world's biggest economy. A successful deal will break the deadlock in China's diplomacy, and once achieved, Europe's issues will resolve themselves.
To show goodwill, Beijing resumed purchases of US soybeans and sharply reduced Russian oil imports. US Treasury Secretary Bessent called the outcome a very successful framework. Trade Representative Greer told Fox News that all 3 objectives of the Malaysia talks were achieved. Beijing dropped its rare earth threat, gave up the soybean card it had been playing since May, and agreed to cooperate on fentanyl control. In other words, the era of confrontation was over. This wasn't negotiation, it was surrender. And it marked the first unmistakable sign that Xi was no longer steering China's foreign policy. Military front. The key is to watch whether Beijing keeps promoting war rhetoric, especially over the Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea. In reality, Xi's main strike forces for a Taiwan invasion have already been dismantled. Even if he wanted a fight, he no longer has the capacity to wage one. Economic front. If Xi has truly relinquished power, the economy will rebound. If he hasn't, it will keep sinking. The markets have already spoken. Right after Beijing softened its tone with Washington, global indices surged. Japan's Nikkei, Korea's Kospi, and Taiwan's TAIEX all hit record highs on October 28th. The Shanghai Composite reached its best close in over a decade, and all 3 major US indexes, Dow, S&P 500, Nasdaq, broke new records. Party statements can be faked, but economic data can't. This was the first clear sign of a power shift. Political front. Watch who returns to the spotlight. Figures tied to Hu Jintao and Wen Jiabao, like Hu Chunhua and Wang Yang, are already back at the center. The message is unmistakable. The reformist faction is rebuilding the stage. But there's one final point, and it's the most important thing I want to say. Xi Jinping is not Hua Guofeng. Xi has certain advantages Hua never had. His political doctrine is written into the party constitution. To remove him completely, the CCP would have to amend that constitution, a far more complicated task than merely sidelining him. And unlike the revolution-era elders, today's leaders lack both the authority and the nerve for drastic action. That's why state propaganda still protects Xi's image, to prevent the public from seeing the fracture inside the regime. But Xi is far more ruthless, unpredictable, and duplicitous than Hua ever was. The reformist caution may buy short-term peace, but it carries enormous risk. Even without formal power, Xi's 13-year network still holds influence, especially inside the propaganda system. Those loyal to him still control the narrative, and that gives him leverage for a comeback. If Beijing's reformers continue to soft-pedal and hide the truth, they should be ready for what comes next, a pushback from the remnants of Xi's camp. As long as the system survives, the crisis continues. This is not reform. It is survival disguised as change. History is moving again in Beijing, and we will be here to witness it. Get the real story behind the CCP's shifting power games and see where US-China relations are headed next. Support the vision of a new China without communism. Subscribe now and join us in bringing the truth to light.